Hare Krishna everyone. So in this session of the Bhagavad Gita, we're going to look at chapter 2, verse 47, which goes like this. Karmani evadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangostva karmani. English translation. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So let's take a look at a brief explanation there before we go into more details. So, Krishna says we have a right to perform our prescribed duty, which we all have duties. We need to do our duties with concentration, and whatever work we do, whatever duties we do, have to be done for spiritual results. The purpose of the action should be purification and knowledge, not just to enjoy the results. Not entitled to the fruits of action means to be detached from the fruits. Now, the fruits of action can be good or bad, and when we are detached from the results, from the fruits of our action, then we don't enjoy or suffer as a result of these actions, because any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage in this material world. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. What that means is, when we're doing some activities and we get results, we think that the results are because of our hard work. They are because of us. But actually, it's not just us. Obviously, we're doing it, but the results we have no control over. You are not the only cause of the results. Other factors beyond human control determine the results. So, we've heard of karma, we've heard of destiny, we've heard of maybe God interfering with the results and all of that. We'll see that later on. So the last thing in this verse is never be attached to not doing your duty. So we might say, well, because I'm not the cause of the results of my activities, and what's the point of even doing the activities if I can't control the results, or I can't enjoy the results, because Krishna says we're not entitled to the fruits of action. So if we can't enjoy, we're not supposed to enjoy the fruits of actions, then what's the point of even doing these actions? But Krishna says, never be attached to not doing your duties. You have to do your duties. Do not become inactive or lazy in performing your duty just because the credit is going to Krishna. Inaction is sinful. So this is a verse about work. Working in Krishna consciousness with detachment to the results will doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Let's look at things in more detail. So Krishna says we have a right to perform our prescribed duties. So this slide here is talking about how we should do our duty. It should be done with concentration, and whenever we're doing something, we put in 100%. We do our best. That's all we can do. We can't control the results, but we can do our best. So here are a few ways. So we should pay attention to detail, put our heart in it, and not be neglectful. So we see here in the picture on the left, we see Dronacharya, who is the spiritual master, of Arjuna. And when Arjuna was being taught archery, the spiritual teacher, he put a bird on the tree and he asked the students to shoot an arrow, not at the bird, but at the eye of the bird. So each student would come up in turn and the spiritual master would ask, so what are you seeing? So some of the disciples, they didn't say saw the tree, some saw the branches, some saw the bird, but the spiritual master was not happy. And when Arjuna came up and he prepared to shoot the bird in the eye, the spiritual master asked him, so Arjuna, what do you see? And Arjuna said, I see the eye of the bird. And that was the correct answer. That's what the teacher wanted the students to see. So we should pay attention to detail. We should not work mechanically. We should be aware of the total picture as well as each step in the task. So there's a little story. So there were some builders who were building a temple, right? So somebody asked one of the builders, so what are you doing? And that person said, well, I'm putting bricks together. Then the person moved on to the next builder and said, what are you doing? And that person's reply was completely different from the first. He said, well, I'm building a building. And the person moved on to the third builder, and said, so what are you doing? And the third builder said, well, I'm building a temple of the Lord. How merciful is the Lord that He's given me the opportunity to build a lovely temple for Him. So we can see these three different builders. They're doing the same work, but they don't have the same consciousness and they don't see the whole picture. The last person the third builder connected his work to Krishna. He saw the total picture. He wasn't just focusing on putting bricks together, as in the case of the first builder. Obviously he was doing that, but he had in his mind the whole picture. So that's how we do work. We don't just do things mechanically, but we're aware of the total picture. We're aware of things. We need to do our best according to our capacity. Because we have different capacities, it could be financial, it could be intellectual, it could be physical. So whatever it is, whatever our situation, we do our best according to what we can, according to our capacity. Let's take the example of Jatayu. When Sita was being kidnapped by Ravan, she's in the chariot and it was flying in the air. She was shouting for help. Jatayu, the eagle, the vulture bird, devotee bird, he wanted to save Sita. He wanted to help her. He did his best, right? With his wings, he tried to attack Ravan and tried to strike Ravan with his wings and with his beak, but he was unsuccessful. He tried his best, but his wings got clipped and he fell to the ground. So Jatayu tried his best. So when Ram came along, he was very soft and caring and very, very grateful to Jatayu. Although the Jatayu was unsuccessful in saving Sita, still he tried his best. And Ram was very grateful for that. And he didn't just leave the bird there to die. He took care of the bird. And he showed his gratitude. And here on the right, we remember that Lord Ram took the help of an army of monkeys headed by Hanuman to build the bridge across to Lanka. During that time, when the monkeys were marking the name of Lord Ram on the stones and throwing them across, so we had Hanuman who was doing that. But at the same time, we had a little squirrel. If you can see in the picture on the right, there was a little squirrel, and obviously a little squirrel is so small. He's only strong enough to toss some pebbles. So he was doing just that, trying to help. And when Hanuman saw this little squirrel, he laughed and he said, "Oh, what are you doing? It's you better leave this to me because I'm strong and I can do it. You can't really help that much." But Lord Ram, he stopped Hanuman and he said, "No, the squirrel is doing as good as you, because the squirrel, he is doing it with love and out of devotion to me." So Lord Ram appreciated the squirrel's help in building the bridge as much as he did for Hanuman. So this is to say that we need to do our best according to our capacity. The next thing is we should be absorbed in the work. Be oblivious to everything else. Be in the present. So here's an archer. He was busy making his arrows, and a whole procession was going by. Now, processions are really noisy, right? But he didn't see the procession. He didn't hear anything. He was so focused on making his arrow. And that's how we should concentrate when we're trying to do a job. Right, so here is, so Krishna says, we have a right to perform our prescribed duties. So remember that, so just something brief about duties. So we all have duties, and there are actually 4 divisions of human society Krishna's created. So we have the, if you remember, the Brahmins, their intellectual class. They are responsible for enlightening others. The Kshatriyas, who are said to be the administrative class. So they are, they're at the top. They lead others. They're kings, leaders, managers. So they are in the mode of passion. Then we have the business class, or the Vaishyas. The Vaishyas are in commerce, so providing services, providing goods to the rest of the human society. And then we have the Shudras, who are like the menial workers, and they do some menial work. They serve the other classes. So activities and works are based on the modes of material nature. Purpose of activities, the purpose of these divisions, the Varnas, as they're called, the divisions of human society, the purpose is to attain purification and knowledge. By doing our duties, we ultimately get purified and situated in knowledge. So one thing is that all work that we do should not be done for material results, but for spiritual results. And how we do this is we go to work, we do our duties. So if, say, we're a student, we study. If we're going out to work, we go out to work, we earn a salary, but we offer the results of our work to Krishna. So for instance, if we're working, we're earning a salary, we use this money to, say, for donations to the temple. In preaching missions, we use it to buy vegetables and fruits and cook lovely prasad for the devotees. We buy beautiful flowers for the Lord, buy beautiful jewelry for the deities, or we fund certain projects, we give donations. So all of this is we're working, but we offer the results to Krishna. So if we're a student, we work really hard, put in 100%, then we offer the results to Krishna. Or we do it in the consciousness that we're trying to please Krishna. So we put in 100%. So here, Arjuna was a Kshatriya, which means he was meant to fight. He was a leader. He was meant to fight for righteousness. One of his prescribed duties was to fight, but Arjuna wanted to give up his duty. He said to Krishna, how can I fight on the opposing side? There's my relatives, there's my teacher. How can I fight? He wanted to stop. He wanted to go to the forest instead. But Krishna said, no, Arjuna, you have to carry out your prescribed duties, which is to fight. Right, so we'll move on to the next now. So the next slide is the bit. Right, so we're not entitled to the results, to the fruits of our action. So what that means is we do our work, we do our action, but we should be detached from the results. Let's take the example of a bank official. So the bank official goes to work, he sits there and he counts money. People bring in money to deposit in the bank. So he counts it and he does the necessary. Or sometimes customers will come and they want to withdraw money from their accounts. So he will give them the notes. So he's not thinking, oh, now customers come to withdraw money. Oh my God, so I'm losing money. Or if a customer comes to deposit money, he's not thinking, yay, I'm getting rich. He isn't. He's just there counting notes. His job is just, he's detached from the results. He's not thinking that he's gaining or he's losing. So we should be like the bank official. We do our job, right, but we're not thinking whether we're going to enjoy the results or not. Or just take the builder. So the builder, so somebody wants to build a house and they employ a builder and they pay him, right? He's getting his salary for building the house. He's just doing his job, but he's not attached. He's not thinking, hey, I'm building this house, which means that I need to stay in this house once it's done. He's not attached to the house that he's built. He lets it go. He gives it to the person who's got this house built. So in the same way, we should be like that. We should be like the builder or the bank official. And it's a good thing not to be attached to the results of our action, because when we focus on the results, what does that do? It creates anxiety because we're thinking, is this good? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? We're filled with insecurity, and that leads to frustration. So say somebody has to perform in a concert, and so they do the job, so they'll play the violin or the piano, and they're thinking, oh, is this good? Did people like it? Will people like it? So this creates anxiety. Or if we're sitting an exam and we focus too much on the results while we're waiting for the results, we might go crazy trying to think whether we did a good job or not. So we do our best and then we leave it, and whatever the result is, that's what it is. There's no point being so focused on the result. But that does not mean that we should not care or be concerned about the results. We just do our best, as I said. We give it 100%. By practicing karma yoga, so when we work, that's work, but it becomes karma yoga if we offer the results to Krishna. And when we offer the results to Krishna, it's completely different. We get purified. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, not us. Krishna is the provider, the proprietor. Everything belongs to him. And if we take and we take and we not give back to Krishna, we're like thieves. Because all material elements that we're surrounded with is provided by Krishna. And so we should offer it back to Krishna. And the good thing is, if we offer the results to Krishna, then we're satisfied and we're happy, and we know we're not losing anything. We're gaining so much. We're gaining so much because Krishna appreciates everything we do for him. Krishna judges us only by our efforts. Remember the example of the squirrel. Right? It doesn't matter what the results are. It doesn't matter that the squirrel is not really helping much to build this bridge. But the fact that he's contributing, the fact he's making efforts, just like Hanuman, is enough for Krishna. So the external world, people, may judge us by the results. But Krishna will never judge us by the results. So let's say we want to cook, right, for the devotees, and we cook. We put in our love and our devotion. We offer the food to Krishna. But the devotees don't like the food. And they think, oh, it's not really tasty, or this or that. It doesn't matter. We feel happy because Krishna accepted the food. We did it for Krishna. So people may judge us by the results, but Krishna looks at our love and devotion. And results are always good, therefore, if we do it for Krishna. Okay, so we'll now look at the next bit. Oops. Look at the next slide. So next part of the verse is, never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. So we may do something and we may think that, oh, this turned out really good thanks to me. So let's say we're organizing a festival and we say, oh, the festival was a success. Everybody loved it. Everybody was really impressed, and that's because of me. It's my efforts. It's my endeavor. We should not think like this. We should not think we're the only cause of the result of our activities, because that will make us become proud, and it's not correct to think that. When we think we're the cause of the result, we are the doer, we get bound by the reactions and we suffer the results. And we identify with our abilities. So let's say we had to maybe play an instrument at a festival, and everybody enjoyed it, and we think, yeah, that's because I played it so well. Everybody liked my music, or everybody liked my singing. When we identify with our abilities, this increases the I am the body mentality, instead of understanding that we're the spirit soul. So we should also remember that all materials, all abilities, all intelligence, all power comes from Krishna. So we should give Krishna the credit. We should say, well, Krishna empowered me so I could play the mridanga very nicely and I could sing very nicely. That's because Krishna gave me he empowered me to be able to do that. So we should not think that we are the ones, because, as I said, it makes us proud. It's all coming from Krishna. And Krishna doesn't like it when his devotees are proud. So we see here in Krishna Lila on the right, so Krishna smashed the pride of, on the right, Lord Indra. So Lord Indra, he's the king of the heavenly planets, and so the inhabitants of Vrindavan used to perform a fire sacrifice for him every year to thank him for the rain that he sent. And he got attached to it, and when Krishna, he understood that Lord Indra was attached, he talked all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, his father and the cowherd men, he talked them into not doing the sacrifice for Indra, and he said, why not worship Govardhan Hill instead? So Indra got very, very angry, and he sent some vertical clouds, thunder, lightning, rain. He tried to destroy Vrindavan. But he couldn't, because Krishna lifted the Govardhan Hill for 7 days and 7 nights to protect all the inhabitants and the calves and the cows. And Indra realized his mistake. His pride was broken. He understood that he had become too proud, and he had tried to kill the very personality who was his beloved master. So here we see that he is asking for forgiveness, his pride having been shattered. And obviously Krishna forgave him, but told him, Indra, you have to remember your position as my servant. Never be puffed up again. Situate yourself in devotional service. So on the left, we see Lord Brahma also asking for forgiveness. That's because Lord Brahma, he could not understand how the Supreme Lord could be a little boy, a little cowherd boy playing in the mud and the dust in Vrindavan, eating with his left hand. Normally, if we're offering Krishna food, say, we chant all these mantras, and all the demigods would chant mantras to offer food to Krishna. But here in Vrindavan, he was sitting amidst his cowherd friends, eating their remnants from their lunch boxes, eating with his left hand. He had in his left hand a bit of yogurt. So Lord Brahma could not understand. He could not believe that Krishna was that same Supreme Lord who is his master. So he wanted to test Krishna, because Lord Brahma is the creator, the secondary creator of the universe, and he became puffed up. So he tested Krishna by stealing the cowherd boys and the calves. But then Krishna, we know, expanded himself into as many cowherd boys and cows that there were there at that time, that Lord Brahma took and put in the cave. So he understood his mistake, and he asked for forgiveness. So Krishna doesn't like his devotees to be proud, and he smashes their pride. So here we have the story of King Nriga. Very briefly, King Nriga was a very pious king. He was very charitable, right? So giving to the Brahmins is always a good thing. It's a good deed, right? So he did that. He would generously give charity to the Brahmins. So one day he gave lots of cows to one Brahmin, and so the Brahmin took the cows with him. But then one of the cows wandered back into the barn. It came all the way back to the king, and another Brahmin came along, and the king donated some cows to the second Brahmin as well. So that cow that he had already donated to the first Brahmin, because it got mixed with the other cattle, the second Brahmin got that one, and then the Brahmins came to know about it, and there was a fight, and the first Brahmin got upset because he said, how can a king donate the cow to me and then take it back and give it to the other? So they were fighting, and each one was saying, this is my cow. So the king, it was such an unfortunate turn of events, right? The king was cursed because he did this. So you can see the two Brahmins are fighting here, and they cursed the king that he would have to suffer. So he became a lizard. So you can see the king thought he was doing a good job donating. I mean, it's always auspicious to donate, but you have no control over the results. So he got cursed. He got cursed to become a lizard, but he got he got the benediction that he would be in the well, and when Krishna would perform his leelas, he would be liberated from the body of the lizard by Krishna himself. So he would see Krishna face to face. So he did see Krishna face to face. Once Krishna's sons were playing and they saw this lizard in the well. It was really big, so they went to call Krishna, and he came, he touched the lizard, and King Raga got back his original body. Actually, he was liberated and he went back to heavenly planets. He got liberation because Krishna touched him. So this story is to illustrate that we have no control over the results of our actions. We just do our best and leave the rest. The next bit of the verse is about never be attached to not doing your duty. So having said that we're not entitled to the results, people may think, well, what's the point then of doing work if we're not entitled to it, to the results? We can't enjoy the results. We have to give it all to Krishna for him to enjoy. If we're not the doer, we're not the cause of the results. So what's the point then? But the thing is, if we are inactive, we're not engaging the abilities given to us to serve Krishna. It's action, activity, or service that we do that purifies us when we engage our mind, our body, our actions in service to Krishna. So we should work. But it should be in the mood of pleasing Krishna. We work for self-purification, because through service and actions we can express our love to Krishna. So we, for instance, go to the temple, we serve prasad to the devotees, we scrub the kitchen, we mop the floor of Krishna's temple, we make garlands for Krishna, right? We play instruments, we do kirtan, we preach Krishna consciousness to others, right? We cook the Sunday feast, or if we're pujari, we dress the deities. Through this action, through this work, we're actually expressing our love to Krishna. And it's purifying. While doing work, we purify our mind from three contaminating mentalities. Proprietorship, which means I own everything. We know Hiranyakashipu wanted to control the three worlds. So wanting to be Lord and Master of everything, to be the proprietor of everything, thinking we are owning it, is like a Hiranyakashipu mentality where he wanted to control the three worlds. We should remember that we're not the proprietor. Everything is given to us for our maintenance, our sustenance, for doing work, but we're just using Krishna's energies, Krishna's whatever he's provided to us. So when we do work, we are purifying this mentality. We are getting rid of this mentality that we own everything. Controllership means I'm the boss of everyone, so everybody should listen to me. Do as I say. I know best. Do what I say. Don't do what I do, but do what I say. So this is a controllership mentality that we have to relinquish. We learn to do that when we do service, when we do work. We learn to get rid of this mentality. Being the enjoyer. So we have a mentality that everything and everyone is for my enjoyment. And that's called the Ravan mentality. Ravan wanted to enjoy Sita, who is none other than the goddess of fortune, who is the consort of the Lord. So when we want to enjoy Sita without the Lord, without Ram in the picture, without Krishna in the picture, then we have this Ravan mentality. So what that means is when we get wealth, and we want to enjoy the wealth for ourselves, just to make ourselves happy. It's like the Ravan mentality. We should not enjoy without Krishna. So we should, whatever we have, we use it for Krishna. In this way we can enjoy the service. We can purify ourselves. So when we become purified, what does that mean? Purification. When we become purified, we understand that everything belongs to Krishna, and He is the supreme proprietor, supreme controller, and enjoyer. So it's important to do work because of all of this. So it's important to be doing our duties, to be doing our work. So that's what Krishna says. Never be attached to not doing your duty. Finally, the last